To install and load a material spool, first ensure that the printer is idle and is not building. Select the Materials button from the navigation menu. The information displayed represents the current configuration of your printer. A material status icon with a dashed gray border indicates that a material spool is not present in the material's corresponding material bay. To load material, open the material bay drawer and pull up on the latch securing the lid corresponding to the material bay you'd like to load. Insert the material spool you'd like to load into its appropriate slot within the material bay. The spool's material ID board will self-locate and provides information such as material type and volume. When you have inserted the spool, the bay's material drive controller will start. Place the filament tail into the back wall of the material bay until grabbed by the material drive controller. This will automatically prepare the material for loading. The front panel will now refresh and show that the material has been prepared for loading. If you already have a material spool inside the material bay, but not prepared for loading, you can load manually. Simply insert the filament tail into the back wall until the front panel refreshes and shows the material is prepared for loading. Now you can load material to the printhead by pressing the Load button within the Material Details page. Material now begins to load to the liquefier tip within the head. The pathway displayed between the material status icon and the corresponding head status icon becomes highlighted to indicate the loading progress. The material drive controller starts to push filament to the liquefier tip. When filament reaches the head, it enters the liquefier tip and begins to warm to the material's operating temperature automatically based on material spool memory chip data. This step also sets the oven temperature to the correct value for the material being loaded. Once the tip is within 3 degrees of the set point temperature, the head moves to the purge area and the tip purges a small amount of material. Once material is loaded, the filament pathway between the material status icon and the corresponding head status icon will be solid blue. The head status icon will turn from gray to blue, and the material status icon will display a solid blue border. Once the material load is complete, close the lid corresponding to the loaded material bay, and then close the material bay drawer. You are now ready to select a job to build and start printing. To unload material from the printer, select the Materials button from the navigation menu. Open the Material Details page corresponding to the material bay you'd like to unload by touching its material status icon on the screen. Now press the Unload button within the Material Details page. Material begins to unload from the head. Carefully rewind the material as shown here to avoid crossing the wires. Once fully rewound, place the end of the filament into one of the filament tail capture locations. Cut the filament tail flush using the 5-inch cutters supplied in the welcome kit. The unload process will take several minutes. Please be patient. The pathway displayed between the material status icon and the corresponding head status icon becomes highlighted to indicate the unload progress. The head status icon will refresh and become solid gray, indicating that material is no longer loaded to the head. The material status icon will refresh and display a solid yellow border with a notification badge over the center of the icon. The icon will remain in this state until the material spool is reloaded or completely removed. You have now completed the loading and unloading procedures for the F123 series printers.